She is a nationally certified speech language pathologist. She's the owner of Serenity Speech Therapy, which is a private telepractice company. And she is the founder of Brain Talk Foundation. Dr. Kelli Uitenham, I got your name right this time. Last time I fumbled through it, but I got it right. Thank you for coming back. You were here. You reminded me you were here back in September, talking about something totally different. But thank you for coming back.
My pleasure. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
From 1 to 10, what is your excitement level about Brain Talk Day?
10 plus.
10 plus?
Yes.
I asked you if you were nervous about it.
No, I'm excited about it.
And you were like, yeah. I'm like, man, I would be nervous because I have to have my hands on everything. I have to like really plan out, and I get stressed out about it.
I've done my best to relinquish control and let my team do more this year. It's an annual event, and so I'm not nervous. I'm more excited, and I get my students involved more now, and I'm very excited about this event.
All right, so folks who are listening, they're probably like, what is Brain Talk Day? Can you explain what that is?
Yes. So Brain Talk Foundation is my nonprofit where we have a mission of raising awareness around concussion, traumatic brain injury, and CTE in athletes, but other at-risk populations. So domestic abuse survivors, police officers, which is what I was here for in September, and military personnel, as well as neurodegenerative conditions like dementia, Parkinson's disease, and just raising awareness for society so that we can kind of reframe the way that people approach these invisible injuries and this silent epidemic of brain injury where people are surviving. And so Brain Talk Day is our community offering so that people can come out. It's a free event. They get to learn about the brain and brain health, and we are going to talk about the risks in brain injury. There will be concussion goggle simulations so people can see what it's actually like to do some ADLs, or what we call activities of daily living, which is essentially anything that you do during the day. So we'll have different exercises and activities that people will be able to try with these concussion goggles on. We have had people who have had concussions to put them on and say this is exactly what it's like. So it's pretty close to that simulation. We'll also have breakout sessions where we have professionals who are going to talk to attendees about mindfulness, massage. We also have a fantastic company called True Brain who's going to be there, and they have a very innovative product that actually scans the brain so you can see it real time, and it turns like a static view of an X-ray or a CT into how they describe it as a movie. So there's moving, there's actual sound that you can see. They describe if you're grinding your teeth, how you can actually see that show up on screen. So they will be there, they'll be giving screens and scans. It's more proactive, so you can see what's happening to your brain now in real time versus someone has a diagnosis of suspected CTE or traumatic brain injury or Parkinson's. You can see what's happening now and get a good idea of what's going on. And then we have the amazing Dr. Elena Davis, who is our keynote this year, and she is the chair of the speech department at Howard University. So I'm very excited. We call each other we're brain besties because we're both in this space. And she's going to come down and she's going to bring her students from Howard, and they are going to mix it up and participate, and we're very excited about this event.
What is it about? Well, I guess I should ask for folks who don't know. How long have you been doing? How long have you been doing Brain Talk Day?
This is our second annual.
Second? Okay, wow.
Yes.
How does this compare, or how is this different from maybe last year? Or how has it grown?
Last year, well, there's definitely been growth. More people have heard about it, so more people are going to be coming. The guests that we have this year, the panelists, they are different, but even just as powerful as last year. The sessions that we're going to have, they've grown. We're having more sessions this year, and the students, I would say my students are much more involved this year in the planning.
What should people who may be thinking about, or maybe thinking about plans for this weekend, and they're watching this and they're like, okay, all right, Brain Talk Day, I think I want to go. What do you hope they take away from this event?
The event, I hope that they take away awareness, because that is the whole point of this. People hear doctor and they hear concussion and they hear, I want to talk to you, and there's a presentation, and a lot of times they have that that perception that I'm trying to stop them from playing, or I want to remove sports from their life, or whatever it is that they, is causing them to be at risk. And that's not the case. I really want people to come, I want them to learn, and I want them to do with the information what they will, what's best for them, what's best for their families. But the huge piece of this that really sparked Brain Talk Foundation and Brain Talk Day is when I give my talks, I travel all around the country and hopefully one day the world, raising awareness about this topic. And what I always hear is, I wish I would have known. I wish I would have known. And that typically comes after somebody has experienced the loss of someone, whether by suicide or their loved one they're just not the same anymore. And I hear that a lot too with brain injury. It's like they're not the same as they once were. So if people can come to Brain Talk Day on Saturday and learn about the brain, learn about the signs and symptoms of these kinds of brain injuries, a lot of them show up like ADHD, a lot of them show up like ODD, ADD, PTSD, lots of Ds. And when you have that situation and you're being misdiagnosed potentially, that means that a child or an adult could be placed on a medication that they don't necessarily need. And what does that do to the brain? Providing them with resources to other professionals that can help them in that space, like the True Brain company that's going to be there, like yoga, mindfulness, even stretching and massage. We're going to have a great massage therapist there who's my actual personal massage, so I know he's great.
All right, now I'm serious about going. Okay.
Yeah. Come on, he's going to be doing demos and stretches and talking about mindfulness. And so there are just multiple facets of brain injury and recovery that people don't even know about. There isn't a guide for it, so if someone does get a brain injury, there are so many questions, and lives can change in such a significant way. And so Brain Talk Day is a way to come, ask questions, learn some things that you may not have known or even considered, and then hopefully motivate people to want to push and ask for more information on protocols, ask for more education, because right now there isn't like a set regiment or protocol or requirement for an in-depth look into brain injury or that risk. So there could be something where it's like, yes, you have to educate, but there's no stipulation as to how. So it could be something as simple as, I've printed off this sheet that has information on concussion, sign it and give it back to me. But there's nothing about second impact syndrome or SIS. There's nothing about CTE specifically. Correct, yeah. And there's nothing about post-concussive symptoms or syndrome. And so all of these things, I would think, I mean, I'm a former athlete, so I love sports, lifelong sports fan, but I would think that parents, even the athletes themselves, would like to know the risk of these things before they take the field or the court. And again, do with that information what you will. It's not a banishment or punishment or anything like that. I just think that people have a right to know the risks so that they can identify those signs and symptoms and then find the proper channels for help if that's what they're needing.
I feel like it's a trend, a good trend. I think people want to be healthier now. They want to get in shape. They want to start running. They want to start eating healthier. But there's still a fear of knowing your health, like knowing how you're doing, how you're feeling. Do you still see that? And for folks who may be skittish to come to an event like this, because I don't want to do a scan of my brain. I don't want to know what's really going on. I was having a great Saturday, and now what do you say to folks who feel like that?
I say it can be scarier not to know, because if you do find out, then you can potentially buy yourself more time, and you can find avenues for treatment. So people, are out here surviving with these invisible injuries. I call it a silent epidemic. It is. And so I hear about people who, there are simple fixes. We call them compensatory strategies. Well, for the professionals, it could be a simple fix, but it can be something as simple, and I'll, put quotes around that, something as simple as utilizing your AI devices like Siri or Alexa or Google, and using that for making a grocery list or your schedule, making sure that you are abiding by a schedule. So things that could be taken for granted, and that also depends on what kind of injury that they're experiencing, what kind of symptoms they're experiencing. It could be something like problem solving, it could be something like sequencing. So putting together an outfit for you to leave, that could be an extremely daunting task because of the multiple steps that requires. And a lot of things that we with healthy brains that haven't been concussed or severely concussed or repeatedly concussed, that we can really take for granted.
What are some of the conversations you've had, especially, maybe last year's event, where maybe it's a parent, their kid plays football, or somebody who's looking to get into law enforcement, or maybe it's a caregiver who has a loved one with dementia. What are those conversations like after maybe last year's event, or even not even take away last year's event, like just in general when you talk about brain health?
Shock and awe.
Okay.
And gratitude.
Okay.
A lot of gratitude. So people finding out what they should be looking out for. Parents are grateful because they learn not to explain away certain symptoms. So a parent who could explain away migraines. I've had a parent on my podcast who has described their daughter being severely concussed by taking a tennis ball to the eye, actually.
Wow.
Knocked her unconscious. So people always think football. Yeah, tennis can be dangerous. This young lady had a very ferocious serve, and the guest from my podcast, her daughter ended up getting hit, and their family has a history of migraines. And so when the daughter was complaining, and the number one cause or the number one symptom or complaint with a concussion is headaches. And so when she kept saying, like, Mom, I've got this headache, my head hurts really badly, the mom was explaining it away as, well, we all have migraines in the family, and so she's talking to her about medications, but there was an underlying cause, which was the concussion. And so she ended up learning about neurooptometry, which is, again, another profession that is a specialist in brain injury and recovery. And the neurooptometrist told her that she had been hit so severely that she was at risk for retinal detachment. And the parent, the guest that was on my podcast, she had no idea. And so parents have a sense of gratitude of knowing what to keep an eye out for and not explaining things away. Caregivers, so it could be the child of someone who does have dementia, they are grateful for different strategies that they can learn so that being a caregiver doesn't have to be as laborious or taxing on them, because when you become a caregiver for someone who has a neurodegenerative condition, that really changes your life. It changes the relationship that you have with that person that you're caring for. And so a lot of gratitude, a lot of knowledge, and a lot of, oh my goodness, I wish I would have known. And thank you for telling me for these events and these talks that I do. Does
it get overwhelming? Because you have this foundation, this nonprofit, you run your own business, you have a podcast, you do other podcasts as well. Does it all get overwhelming for you? And then you hear these personal stories.
Yes.
I mean, it's just a lot. Does it get overwhelming?
It is a lot, but I really feel like I'm in my purpose. And so I don't end up getting tired of it. And so when I hear people who reach out or who professionally slide into my DMs or send me an email, or my podcast guests, hearing these stories really makes a difference in my life. It continues to fuel me to keep doing this very intensive work. But hearing these people's stories continues to motivate me, and it keeps me in that space of like, this is why I do what I do. And there are so many people who experience this silent epidemic, and they don't have a voice. And so I am a millennial through and through, so I'm not
millennials. Shout out to millennials.
Right, shout out to millennials. I wasn't born to do the social media thing, but because it has been such an amazing tool to help connect me to people around the world, I do have a social media presence, and I use that platform to help share people's stories, and whether that be through the podcast or through going live, which I don't love to do by myself, but I will do those things, and that is a sacrifice that I make of putting myself out there because I have this knowledge, and I can help to change the lives of other people in a better way. So it can be tiring, but I have such strong motivation to keep going that it doesn't fatigue me.
Where can folks find more information about Brain Talk Day? I want to make sure they get it. Sometimes we leave it off. We have good in-depth conversations. We leave off the important stuff. So where can folks register? And time, location?
Yes. So you can register through my website, which is braintalkfoundation.org. You can also go directly to Eventbrite and search Brain Talk Day. And it will be at Northeastern University's, our Charlotte campus, where I am a full-time assistant faculty member, adding that on to all the things that I do. But pouring into this next generation is very important to me. But it will be on campus, which is 2151 Hawkins Street. Come to the parking deck, take the elevator to the 8th floor, and you will be greeted by the Brain Talk Day team. And you have to register to make sure that you come so that we have enough seats and food for everybody. Food will be provided. So make sure that you register before you come. But we would love to have you, and I'm so excited that you're going to be coming out for a little bit too.
And I'm so excited for you and the team to be coming to Charlotte Marathon in 2 weeks.
Yes, absolutely. See, I offered a 10 a.m. start time. You said
7:20.
7:20, but I can make that time.
Park at 6 a.m.
What?
You got to make sure you find parking. It's going to be like 11,000 people.
6 a.m.
Find parking at 6 a.m. and then, eventually make your way where you could see the race.
Okay. What time does it end?
I guess it just depends on what time I finish. So if I start, let's say about 7:20, 7:30, because there's different corrals, right?
Okay.
Depending on your time. And so say about 9:30-ish.
Okay. I'm going to be there.
All right.
Okay.
I'll be at Brain Talk then. No, but seriously, a great event. Dr. Kelly, thank you for stopping by. Thank you and the team for stopping by once again. You're all